Hey guys, it's Caleb here. So today we're going to be doing something a little different, but something I've been wanting to do for a while. And this is going to be like Gunsmith Reacts content, but to other videos on the internet. So first up, we have a video by the YouTube channel Desktop, and it's "We Need to Talk About Sonoran Desert Institute." And as far as a lot of the online drama goes, this is kind of one of the videos that really like spearheaded that assault, like that is SDI a scam kind of like thing. And before we get into anything else, let me just say I really like Deskpop's channel. They have a great channel, wealth of knowledge, tons of great content there. If you're not subscribed right now, it's definitely worth going over and subscribing to. But we this video, not so much. So let's just kind of talk to. We're gonna watch it together. If you've already seen it, great. If you want to watch it without me stopping and pausing and talking about it, don't complain about that here. Just go watch it yourself. I'll link the video down below so you can do your thing. All right, so let's just jump right into it. All right, so it starts off here.
That's gonna that's the end of the Sonoran Desert Institute.
By now, over the last 4 years and the like $1.5 million that SDI has shilled out to your favorite Instagram or YouTube influencer, you've probably heard about SDI. And this video was kind of weird for us, being that we're a growing channel and SDI is one of the highest paying sponsors on the docket. We were presented with the opportunity to be sponsored.
Let me just pause there. I've never been paid by SDI, nor nor do I have any plans to or anything like that. I went to SDI after I had already been a successful gunsmith for 10 plus years. So full disclosure there, I was never paid by them.
By SDI, and we said no. And I want to talk about why we said no, and more importantly, I think that they've had enough time. They make $60 million a year off of your GI Bills and tuition. It's time for us to talk about SDI.
I went to SDI for a whole few months there. I graduated real college in...
All right, so he went to SDI for a few months. Bear in mind, that isn't enough time to get through all the introductory courses, like firearm basics, basic and advanced ballistics, reloading. That's where they start you off with, because they're taking somebody who doesn't know anything about firearms, is what they're assuming, and bringing them up to speed, then teaching gunsmithing stuff after that. So bear that in mind.
August 2022, and jumped into SDI when I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I got home in September 2022. And then I withdrew beginning of December 2022. After, 2.5-ish months there of being a student, I realized the $1,370 a month that I was paying for tuition was not actually going to get me anywhere. My first few classes were like history of firearms.
Okay, let's just keep going.
Technology, and a little bit about like intro to gunsmithing, I guess it was. I read some different articles on just basic level gunsmithing and how some guys have worked on older guns. History of firearms went back to very early flintlock, matchlock type stuff, all that. And then I got sent a package as they were preparing to get me set up for like the second half of the semester. And in that it included a gunsmithing textbook, a set of calipers, a tiny little bit of aluminum, and some drill bits. So presumably they were going to teach me some metalworking there. Yeah. But realistically, most of gunsmithing, if you want to manufacture firearms, you're going to need to know how to run a milling machine, a lathe, that type of stuff.
Even if you go to an in-person gunsmith school, your first few months there, you're not going to learn how to use a milling machine and a lathe. SDI was setting you up to be, they were about to teach you how to drill and tap, do basic drill and tap type operations. But yeah, let's continue.
Which they're not going to be able to teach you on a virtual classroom level.
Sure, that is a fact. They're not going to virtually be able to teach you machining classes, which is why I always recommend, if you have an online gunsmithing degree from anywhere, you need to go to do some machinist training. Go to your local community college, whatever, pick up some machinist course. Absolutely, SDI would be foolish to try to teach you that online. But I agree 100%. They don't teach you that.
Yeah, so we're going to double down on that. today I'm going to highlight, obviously.
And the dude that said he went to SDI, I don't know if I said this yet. I wasn't paying a ton of attention. Thank you for your service, by the way.
This is the weird part. If you go online, it doesn't take a lot of research. It really does not take a lot of research to find hundreds of reviews from existing students that are negative. There
are a lot of negative reviews, that's true. There are a lot of really good success stories as well. And the negativity always kind of, it's always more heard. You know, the squeaky wheel analogy, it's way more heard than the countless good reviews. So yeah, let's keep going.
There are positive reviews out there, obviously. With anything, you're bound to have some positive reviews, but there are an overwhelming amount of...
I'd say the flip side, you know, with anything, you're bound to have some negative reviews.
Negative reviews for SDI. I'm going to pull up my phone throughout this because I have a bunch of notes, and I've actually spent a ton of time on this, but like some of them are that GI Bills is kind of SDI's bread and gravy. And it's true, they're bread and gravy, not bread and butter. Bread and gravy does tend to be going for GI Bills. So it's interesting to me that they're air quotes unaccredited.
Just say, like, I wish I was sitting outside while I was doing this right now. It looks to be like a freaking awesome weather wherever they are.
Universities, so you'll get a degree in gunsmithing. It's an associate's degree in gunsmithing. And the three things that I want to highlight is kind of like what SDI claims they'll do for you. SDI claims that they will give you, one, a knowledge and degree in gunsmithing from an accredited university.
Skip around a little bit just because this is a 25-minute video with me stopping and talking. This is going to be over an hour. If there's any points in this video that I miss that you were like, I promise I'm not doing it on purpose. I haven't watched this video in like 3 to 4 months, so it's been a minute. If there's anything I miss, leave it in the comments down below. I'll do my best to answer it. But yeah, let's just kind of skip around a little bit and see what's up. Get to the meat of this video here. You know,
knowledge and degree in gunsmithing from an accredited university. They're accredited in the sense that they can rob your GI Bill. They're not.
So here's the deal: you don't need a degree to be a gunsmith. If you want to have a degree, like via an online program, you're going to have to do the extra college filler courses. You're going to have to pay more money because they spend a lot more money maintaining their accreditability status to give you a college degree. So you can get just a gunsmithing certificate online from somewhere like MGS, spend a lot less money, and get pretty much just as good, if not better, of a gunsmithing education. MGS has an awesome program. That doesn't mean SDI is a scam. There are people that want to have the degree, and they pay extra for it. I do think that more people need to know that. That's kind of where it comes off a little sketchy, but it is what it is, you know.
I'm just going to put the total up here because you guys can look at it.
Yeah, it's a college degree. You pay a butt ton of money. You can pause and read all the stuff you got to pay. It is absolutely insane. If you're not using a GI Bill and you don't care about having a physical degree, and you're okay with a certification, I most certainly would not recommend SDI.
Gun YouTubers, like, we have a big influence. Research the product you're pitching. We've done this on multiple occasions where we've told you, like, we won't take a
100%.
sponsor, and obviously we're not killing it on YouTube. We're not making it.
So regardless of, like, obviously we disagree. I don't think SDI is a scam, but regardless of that aspect, I have a ton of respect for him just because of what he just said. Like, regardless of what he, like, if it's correct or not, he believes that SDI is not a good sponsor for his channel, so he's standing by it. He's not just taking the money to take the money. So even though he's like, I have a ton of respect for him just because of that right there. Like, that this is the first video I've seen by Despop, and that's whenever I had subscribed. So like, even though I didn't agree with the video, like, just being a solid dude like that is for sure awesome.
A ton of money off of it.
Basically, net loss, actually.
Yeah, we're actually still losing money off of it. But we're not going to pitch you guys a product or a service that we don't think is at least good or okay or would be good for you. And the reason that we said no to SDI, and the reason we're talking about this today, is Right Firearm Solutions that are really good 2-hour video, which we're not going to do here today.
Not seen that video, actually. So that'd be, I think they're going to hit the high points of it in this video, so I'm not going to make you guys sit through a 2-hour one of these.
To
He
highlight
took the whole
points.
class. He wasn't like me, who's just a gunsmith.
Okay, gotcha. So it's from a guy who took the whole program and said it was a scam. I took the whole program after being a successful gunsmith for 10 plus years. I'm saying it's not a scam. I don't know what kind of previous experience that other guy had, but that's interesting.
Smith in New Jersey.
He went through, realized he wasn't learning anything, and actually saw it to the end, finished the entire thing. He left a long-winded review online and put his first and last name, and therefore I was able to track him down. So if you ever leave a review online, don't do your full first and last name. I tracked him down and I talked to him, and he was very helpful. He sent us some coursework screenshots, some pictures of the books, because Max here was supposed to bring his book and just forgot.
I still have, I think, all of my coursework material too.
As you can tell in the desert for this video, obviously, Sonoran Desert Institute. We thought there'd be a college here.
The Sonoran Dora
The Sonoran Desert, that's funny.
institutionalized.
Yeah, there's no Dora in this desert. And there's also no like ice cream, which is very interesting. So
I'll have to get some on the way home.
yeah, this is the thing,
Hot
guys.
out here.
He highlights some very key points, and the key point that we kind of want to get across is a knowledge and degree in gunsmithing from an accredited university. You get that. Talking to anyone, your degree from SDI doesn't matter.
I'd say a key word there is knowledge rather than experience. Like, you can learn all about gunsmithing you want, and I'm sure this will teach you something about it, but you're not going to have the experience of manufacturing or maintaining a ton of firearms through doing an online class.
And that's where it comes
That's any gunsmithing school, regardless if it's online or not. You still need experience.
into a foot in a career in gunsmithing. Guys, I reached out to 3 separate companies. Some of them rhyme with like Pero, Incision, Calmetto, Rate Garmeries, you know, like places like that. They'll hire you if you have an SDI degree. Absolutely. They will also hire you if you walk in the door and apply for a job. Because
Interesting. So I will say this. Brownells, we keep a staff of gunsmiths. Obviously, we're one of the largest gunsmithing companies in the world. I say we. I work at, if you don't know already, I work at Brownells. 2 of our recent hire gun techs, we hired fresh off of the SDI train. They just finished their SDI courses. You have to have either so many years of experience, I think it's like 6 to 8 years of experience, or a gunsmithing degree to even start working as a gun tech at Brownells. So we hired them only because they had that SDI degree. Had they not had that degree, we would not have hired them.
because they don't care
That
about
first
your
one
SDI
I
degree.
applied for at the same time that I was, leaving SDI, and they did not offer to pay me very well, and so I didn't work there.
You get the same position that he would be offered from one of these people.
Should have applied for a job at Brownells.
That
4 years experience at a gun store building guns, and then they were like, how do you want to make less money than you're currently making to work on our production line? And I was like, no thank you.
Whether you have a gunsmith degree or not, production line work sucks.
Anyway, your SDI degree would get you that same job offer. So you're still going to start as an entry-level person in these companies and have the ability to work the way up. But your SDI degree didn't help you get that job. They would just hire you. And that's what I've gotten from these companies, from the people that I have that are in contact there, and most of them do a lot of the hiring. So it's worth noting, like, even if you get this degree, it's not going to magically get you a job on a lathe as a machinist at this company.
I think it's fair to say Palmetto State Armory and Aero Precision, they're not gunsmith companies. They have engineers that design parts, they crank those parts out, and then they have people on a production line that puts their stuff together. There's no like real gunsmithing there except for the engineering jobs, which you're not going to get that job out of any gunsmith school. So realistic expectations.
They won't touch you. If you go to like a real university, the most popular one that everyone talks about, I don't know if I'm allowed to name names in this, so I'm not going to, but I might put them in the description below. It's a hands-on school. You learn how to machine, and they actually have like headhunters. Right Firearm Solution was talking about that. They have headhunters. Like, people call the school and ask who's graduating so that they can hire them as a machinist.
So just to be clear, on-hand, in-person, in-classroom gunsmith schools are phenomenal. That's the way to go. Either that or traditional train method like I did. It's phenomenal. Like I've been on many campuses because I've guest taught, guest instructed at several of these gunsmith schools, and they even online, like Sonoran Desert Institute also does this, but these online or in-person schools do a better job of it, and that's supporting you once you graduate, helping you find a job, helping you get placed somewhere you can actually make some money in the industry.
That's how you get into a high-paying job from this. So
Yes,
if you're looking to spend
absolutely.
your 22,000 hard-earned dollars or $22,000 of your GI Bill on a degree that's going to get you a much better, higher-paying job.
If you can, go in person. I understand that, like, the reason online schools exist is because that's not always an option for everyone. But if you're serious about gunsmithing, of course, go to an in-person gunsmith school.
It's just not going to. So that's point 1 and 2. 1 and 2, you know, the knowledge and a career. Like, no, it's not going to get you into a career.
It is. So point 1, knowledge, like just like the other guy said, he dropped out in the basic courses. It's going to give you knowledge in gunsmithing that you need to build on. That's every I know plenty of people who, through lack of motivation and just a people problem, they graduated from an on-campus gunsmith school, a good one, and they sell used cars. Like, you know, it's not necessarily the school problem at that point. It's the people problem. Online gunsmithing schools attract more of those types of people, so that's why you have more of your negative reviews, because they're trying to take the easy way out, and then they realize that it doesn't matter if they take the easy way or the hard way, as if they don't put any effort into it, it doesn't add up to anything. And then to the second point, I already debunked that. We're one of those companies. I say we. This is a Caleb video, but Brownells is one of those companies that will only hire you if you have a gunsmithing degree, and that SDI degree is a valid degree.
Career. Yeah, I hear they have job fairs now where they like introduce you to recruiters and employers, and people who are going to SDI and have gotten hired. I'd like you to attest to this, but every single employer that I've talked to will hire you for the same position that they'd hire some random person off the street for. So yeah, they'll hire you with your SDI degree, but it's not going to get you a better position at their business. It's just not. It's
You're not gonna
So I feel like we kind of debunked points 1 and 2. So
be head machinist or anything
going to be
like
head
that.
machinist. You're going to have the same.
you're not going to be head machinist if you are out of an on-campus gunsmithing school. It's the same problem. Stop applying. Stop saying that's stop insinuating that's a specific thing to online schools.
Starting point as everyone else. So you basically spend $22,000 for nothing is what they're telling us. The last point that I want to make, and this way we can keep the video semi-short because this one's going to take a minute to hammer into.
Right, let's get after it. That's an awesome shot. I need to get out to the Sonoran Desert, apparently.
Convenient and complete coursework from the comfort of your home. So let's talk about the coursework behind SDI. So some of the coursework just doesn't make any sense, and it's just
That's funny.
plain outdated. We're talking about like a muzzle loading class where you learn how to make a muzzle loader. You will never work on muzzle loaders
I'm going to let him finish his thought, then I'm going to...
as a gunsmith, and I don't want to say never, but it's very outdated. So what's
Usually
the
guys
point?
that do that specialize in that.
Yeah.
All right, pump the brakes. First off, it's teaching you the basics of metal finishing, metal working, and woodworking. Because you got to do some metal work on that kit, you got to do woodworking on that kit, and you have to do some metal finishing on that kit. It's not made to teach you how to work on muzzle loaders. It's to teach you those core gunsmith skills, which you use on other firearms.
Especially in every state that we're in, so at least our area, guys specialize in doing muzzle loaders. And also, it's such an outdated platform that you're not getting a lot of real-world information or real-world knowledge.
When I was starting, I was obviously in the intro classes, but I had like an intro to firearms class or whatever they called it, and we went over some ammunition types. And my assignment was to, if any of you have used Canvas, you know what I'm talking about, do a discussion board post with the rest of my classmates talking about the uses of the ammunition types that we went over and what we think is the best for different situations. And the text that we had to read was talking about how frangible ammunition is really cool because it shatters upon impact. Very true, it's designed to do that. The text also mentioned that they recommended for home defense for that reason because it dumps all the energy into the target, presumably.
I don't remember that. I'm gonna need to go and look at that text. I feel like I would remember. I'm not saying that's not true, but I don't remember it saying that. But yeah, that's crazy if it does.
Which it would, because it blows up on impact. But it also discusses how some of it has a tendency to disintegrate in your barrel, causing a catastrophic malfunction for your firearm. Also true. So, you know, maybe not the best use for home defense there, which is what it was trying to hammer home. The other one, we had to go
100% right.
over some firearm action types and talk about maybe which one we're most likely to encounter as a gunsmith, which ones we're least likely to encounter as a gunsmith, some other interesting points like that, again, in a discussion board post. But one of the action types we went over was the electronic motor-powered minigun that is clearly only for military use, or, you know, maybe some special 0702s that have a cool law letter for the military. They get to do some testing. Clearly, that is the least likely thing I'll ever encounter as a gunsmith, because, you know, I need to know a lot more about electricity than I do about guns to make one of those things work, since that's how it's powered. And nobody that I'll ever meet owns one, except for those cool dudes we ran into at Utah. They had one for some reason.
But we weren't girls. So
we weren't
they
girls,
didn't let
and
us
we
on
didn't
it.
want to pay $100 to shoot it for 2 seconds, which is what they were charging, which is kind of ridiculous. But anyway, it's stuff like that, you know,
So they did mention that as a action type, because it technically is, but it was just a brief mention of it. They didn't make you do a discussion board on that action type. You could pick from any of the action types. So I don't see what the issue is there, personally.
I get that it's a low-level class, but it's also not the most relevant information that I would ever need from stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you want to learn about firearms action types, just Google different firearm action types and a list.
It's an introduction to firearm class. They got to go over firearm action types.
It's probably very similar to what I went over will come up. Or if you want different ammunition types for various firearms, and the same list will come up.
Yeah, but it's also, you can say that about a lot of online or any college course, really. You can Google and get a lot of that information. Not all of it, of course, but you can get the gist of it.
On paper.
Again, so to reiterate, I don't see what the issue is with them teaching you firearm action types.
Page 4 of your book, and I'm putting it on the screen right now, they say course materials and other works have been prepared by or on behalf of SDI for general information and educational purposes only. SDI makes no representations or warranties as to the completeness or accuracy of the information. In no event will SDI be liable for any errors or omissions in the information contained in this work. SDI reserves the right to change, delete, or otherwise modify the work without prior notice. SDI does not assume any responsibility for the use or misuse of information contained in this work. Anyway, this is a college, and none of the books cite any of their sources. So that's something throughout. In your high school textbooks, in your college textbooks, they all have little number boys above the things as you're reading.
Yeah, they typically don't cite any of the sources because a lot of the coursework is written by gunsmiths. And you can look like gunsmiths that are on their staff there, they pay to write the work. And that you can get that information from them, sure, but they're not like pulling pieces out of another book and then citing that. They're just having gunsmiths basically rewrite that information and not verbatim. Which I don't honestly, I don't really see an issue with that, because if you have a gunsmith that's very knowledgeable at something and he's going to teach it, or create material for you to teach with, then I would be perfectly okay with just having his name and not a bunch of other cited stuff. Because it's literally his experience that he's regurgitating on the paper.
Reading it down, and you look at the number boy, and it corresponds to the cite any of their sources. To the point, there's a bug. To the like the father of the firearms rules, you know. So anyway, they quote him and they don't cite him. Father of the firearms rules, you know. So anyway, they quotes every single firearms industry quotes and credits. Jeff Cooper is the guy who's like the father of the firearms rules, you know? So anyway, they quote him and they don't cite him. They just plagiarize him blatantly.
I agree with you two dudes that they should definitely not plagiarize, especially Jeff Cooper. They need to Hopefully they fix that.
And it is plagiarism when you don't cite your source.
is.
So
Absolutely.
throughout their book, you'll see
100%.
a whole bunch of plagiarism without any quotes. There's no air quotes. There's no nothing. It's just them saying their words. So they technically commit plagiarism. We're not lawyers. We're not giving them
Common
legal advice,
knowledge can be
but
cited without a source, but you know.
they don't cite a single source throughout the entire book.
That's like if SDI says, "Hey Caleb, will you write a course on how to refinish a wooden stock?" I'd say sure. I'd sit down, write my guide front to back or start to finish, and you would probably say, that sounds kind of like some spots in there sound like a bit of another guide. Did you cite that source? And I was like, no, I'm just going off of my experience. That's a lot of that's what's happened here, and that can be said with any hands-on trade.
Would have been cool to put his name in there for him.
Some of the other options, like
been cool,
where they
though,
do that, is they say things that are like conflicting information. And the point of SDI is that it's supposed to be, according to them, a good and complete source for people of all stages, whether you have a lot of firearms knowledge or a little bit of firearms knowledge or no firearms knowledge. And the problem with the coursework is that it's designed to work for everyone, which means it works for no one. So for instance, if you have...
I haven't been a 10 plus year gunsmith before I went to SDI. I thought a lot of it was like a good refresher, honestly, because there's certain jobs and certain things I don't touch on as often as I probably should, and it gave me the opportunity to have some good refresher work. So yeah, let's continue.
have absolutely no firearms knowledge whatsoever and you're
Index holster is that, by the way? Let me know in the comments, please. I'm digging it.
starting at SDI. On one of the first pages of the rifle book, it says rifle shooters only shoot 20 to 30 rounds per session, while handgun users shoot 50 to 100 rounds per session.
Maybe if you're a boomer.
Where does that even come from? There's no
That I agree with. That was a super boomer statement.
source for that. It's not true. It's inaccurate. 20 to 30 rounds is less than one magazine from your AR-15. Like you're popping off one mag and then you go, oof.
They had one of their boomer instructors write that for sure.
What a day.
That was a good, hard, long session right there. And I
Maybe-
know all about
maybe my
good, hard, long
grandpappy.
sessions. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this is absurd. And then this is the best part because not even more than 5 pages after the exact page where they say rifle shooters only shoot 20 to 30 rounds per session, handgun users shoot 50 to 100, they say, you need to lubricate your gun thoroughly because many shooters go through 150 to 200 rounds per shooting session, and your rifle must be well lubricated to overcome high heat and carbon buildup while shooting. So they just told you that you only shoot 20 to 30, and then 8 pages later, they're telling you that they go 150 to 200 rounds.
So I bet you 2 different instructors collaborated on that, and one was a boomer, but less of a, I don't know. You get what I'm saying.
Per session, and your rifle may be well lubricated to overcome high heat and carbon buildup. First of all, you're
Skip a little bit
conflicting
here.
information in some areas, and there's just know nothing about firearms, and then giving them incorrect or conflicting information.
That's fine.
Yeah, there's conflicting information. Whenever you have different instructors that are hands-on trades teaching stuff, you're going to get some conflicting information. Like, for example, if you were to call into the Brownells tech line, ask me about, I'll use wood finishing stocks again as an example of refinishing wooden stocks. Ask me about how I did it, and then called back a day later, got another gun tech, asked him how he did it, you would probably get some conflicting information because we're different. But I do agree that SDI needs to do a better job at going through the course substance and mitigating that whenever they can. They're certainly making enough money to pay someone to do that.
But they should get their own, military prior gunsmiths or whoever, someone who at least can cite their experience and then cite them as the source.
Yeah, the exact source that SDI gives, and thank you for bringing that up, the source that SDI gives is actually on the front of every booklet. They say it's from gunsmiths and blogs and articles and YouTube.
Oh, they got the
throughout
Reddit
community.
AI info
They
from
have
Google?
like the Reddit AI info. And the other thing to note, and this is the hardest part that we're going to hammer in, there are video links throughout the textbook for YouTube videos that are not made by SDI. They're made by other people that you're supposed to watch as a portion of your coursework.
So these aren't required watching things for the course, the meat of the course. Whenever they have videos like that, they're videos that they've produced. They do link to other YouTube videos and stuff like that for like discussion boards and things of that nature. But I don't remember any being like core coursework. There was actually a few videos for discussion boards that were like Brownells videos that I was in that I had to do discussion boards on, which was pretty gnarly.
Work to learn about the information. So if
Which is actually common practice throughout other schools, because I did that all the time for college.
Yeah, it's common practice. It's not common practice to have it as like the main learning point for your entire course. And then also, if YouTube
It's not the main learning point, I promise.
takes down this firearms content, which they have started doing, their coursework becomes mute. So they need to have replacements for it. I'd like to see it localized on something.
Yeah, it's not the core of the coursework, so that's not a problem. Oh, that's.
I'm going to quickly slam questions. I asked them, one, do they feel SDI was worth it? And
Yes.
80% of the people I asked said no. I asked 20 people, so most of them said no. I asked, did they feel like they got a complete knowledge of gunsmithing from SDI? Every single one of them said no. The third question I asked,
Probably because there's no, you didn't do any machining, right? You got to go and take some machinist courses after you take any online gunsmithing course. And that's just kind of the nature of how it is. So you're not going to be able to get 100% complete. It'll get you started, but you gotta continue yourself. And and I think the thing that turns a lot of people off is that it'll get you started, but you gotta pay for a full college degree. So.
it was very simple. I said, did SDI put you further forward in your career or into a higher paying position as a gunsmith? No. All of them said no.
I got a raise after I got my degree, but I don't think it was because of the degree.
After him dropping out, us doing research, seeing all of these negative reviews, we couldn't shill SDI.
Yeah, it didn't seem worth it.
We couldn't shill.
So I understand based on like their experiences and the knowledge they have at the time, why they feel this way. If I was in a similar situation, I would probably feel the exact same way. And it's a shame, but that's the nature of it. So I went to SDI before all of this like SDI scam stuff came up, and I had a great time. Yeah, it's a shame it kind of went this way. That sucks, and I'm sorry you had a bad experience.
SDI. We couldn't tell you guys to spend $22,000 on there to let them siphon your GI.
$2,000 is a lot of money. It's not quite scam level, but it's a lot of money. Yeah.
Bill, SDI just makes so much money, and they put so much money into the GunTube community. It really sucks to see because YouTube is constantly robbing from us. So we're pushed into these situations where like SDI will want to give you $5,000 a month and sponsor your channel because they have just stupid amounts of money, thanks to the top influencers shilling them and them just getting students that, you know, if you have a GI Bill, it doesn't cost you anything, so they just siphon it.
I got some FAV.
Yeah, I use my GI Bill. Had I not had the GI Bill to burn up, because I mean I'm already the job I'm doing now. I'm gonna be. I don't plan on being anything other than a gunsmith. So I just went ahead and used my GI Bill on it during COVID. I had nothing better to do during COVID, so I was like, I'll just take an online gunsmithing course. I just kind of randomly chose SDI, and that's why I took it. Had I had to pay out of pocket, I would not have taken it. That's just like, because I'm already a gunsmith. Why would I do that?
Some money, some government money that I ended up having to repay because I dropped out. Yeah, but that $1,370 a month was what I was paying after I got my student aid. So it is expensive.
It's a lot of money that they're taking from people, and we just don't like to see it. We couldn't rightfully shill it. It might be something that you look into and you go, you guys are crazy. SDI is great. I want to do it. It's not my thing. We can't push it to you. I don't think it's going to give you a career in gunsmithing. I don't think it's going to give you information that you can't learn on YouTube for free. And more.
It does. It does give you information you can't learn on YouTube for free. I can testify to that.
More importantly, I know for a fact it's not going to get you a higher paying job than if you just go to any firearms manufacturing plant and start on the floor.
If you want to work at a manufacturing plant, that's correct information. If you want to work at a gunsmith shop or company, that's not factual information. Brownells is a perfect example. They will hire you as a gunsmith with an SDI degree, fresh out of SDI.
And it actually will give you the same position as that, so it's just going to handicap you. Hopefully that is helpful. Hopefully this helped you decide if you're picking SDI. We just
We're getting towards the end here.
semester aerial systems for unmanned technology. So
Oh yeah, SDI they do a drone course now too. I don't think it's any of the gunsmith instructors. It's just something extra they do.
I think that
And it's a certification, not a degree. I think.
I have a little bit of knowledge on there.
In a biology job, I do road maintenance locally, close to home here. So
Yeah. So anyway, guys, this video was brought to you by SDI. If you want to get your sponsor, no, I'm kidding.
I don't think we can do that.
Kidding. We
That would have been hilarious.
can't do that. So
This ad has no sponsor currently.
that's it, guys. If you want to get your start in gunsmithing,
Like I said, this channel, Desktop, they have a ton of great content. I definitely do recommend subscribing to them. I just wanted to give. I don't want to say their videos a lie. They're a bunch of liars. That's obviously different people, different experiences. They gave their experience. I wanted to kind of reactionary way to the video, and respectfully, of course, give my experience to kind of maybe to help kind of balance. If Desktop, if you guys are watching this, I freaking love you guys. I love your channel. This was not meant to offend you in any way. I just kind of wanted to give my input on the situation. But yeah, that's all there is to it. So I'm just going to go ahead and end it there, guys. If you have any, let me see if I can. Yeah, here we go. Okay. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please like and subscribe to my channel as well. But yeah, that's it. If you want to see more of this type of content where I react to video, it doesn't have to be SDI related, of course. Just gun videos in general. Leave a link to the video and maybe we'll do it. All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.